Welcome to Startup Geeks Talks. On this episode, I will meet Petros Styliaras, co-founder at Brive. Welcome, Petros.
Hello, Thanos. Hello.
What a pleasure to have you tonight.
Thanks for having me. Thank you.
It's been a long time that we have met, but I was really want to have you and host you at our episodes because I believe that you have to share us too many things about Brive and more about you. So I would like to start with some more personal questions, if you
Sure.
give permission. So
Yeah, of course.
where
Go
are you
ahead.
right now? I see you are at the Brive office.
Well, yeah, I'm at the virtual office, but yeah. So Brive is a global company, so I'm all over the world really. Currently, I'm back in our headquarters in Athens, but I've been doing some traveling recently. But yeah, back home right now.
Okay, that's great. That's great. So you're based in Greece, and my question is, what do you love in Greece?
Well, I don't want to be typical like the weather and everything.
Like it?
So I just want to, well, yeah, of course, but that's like very standard. So I think I want to say the ecosystem in the startup community that's been growing and growing. And a few years ago, maybe that was a reason to not be in Greece, but right now it's a very, very hot thing right now, and everybody's attention is striving towards Greece. So yeah, I think that's one very good factor.
I like your perspective, and I couldn't expect from someone. So that's nice. So I would like to learn more about your background and about you.
All
Take it
right, all
from the
right.
very early steps. I know some steps that you have done before.
Yeah. Okay. So I think the important part of the story starts when I entered university. So I was mechanical and analytical engineering in University of Patras in Patras, obviously. I studied there. Having grown up in Athens, that was a good choice for me. Coming from a family of engineers, that was also a good choice for me. While studying, I realized maybe that was not the ideal pathway that I wanted to follow. I gained some transferable skills from that, but mainly I started shifting towards business and entrepreneurship. And that's why I did my master's in innovation and technology management at the University of Bath in the UK. Then I worked for a couple of years in London at a consultancy in quick release, which we were doing change management in the automotive industry, like Ford, McLaren and stuff. And that was when I thought, okay, I don't even want to do this thing, and I want to start something on my own because I'm a man of productivity and progress, and I wanted to do something on my own and like take it to the top by myself. So I left everything there and I moved back to Greece. That's where I started my first startup, which was called Profession Aid. It's a career consultancy, so that was going well, had a happy ending. And that's when I also met Dimitris, who is the co-founder of Brive, and he had also had his own thing going on at the time. And then we joined forces and we created Brive. And shortly after, the rest is history.
Okay. So what's Brive?
All right. So there are two sides to Brive. On one hand, it is a one-stop destination platform where prospective students have the opportunity to identify and apply to thousands of programs globally. On the other hand, Brive offers tactful, hands-free student recruitment solutions and services to universities. Basically, Brive does for students and universities what LinkedIn does for professionals and companies.
So how you come up with the idea?
Yeah, so like I said, my personal story, I started somewhere, got influenced, let's say, by certain aspects and started moving towards a direction that it wasn't the ideal for me. It only took a few years for me, but for some people it takes forever, almost their entire career. Dimitris had also the same situation. So he started with computers and data and stuff, but he realized that wasn't also his calling. And we both learned it in the hard way, and we wanted to help people and students relieve from that struggle and start fresh early on and make the right choices for them.
So what is the product right now? What are you offering to what customer, and what is
Yeah.
the unique, let's say, value proposition?
So let's start with a problem, right? We've seen it over and over when students are trying to figure out where they want to study, either researching or going to agents, and this takes a lot of time and cost. And even so, many times the choices are not ideal for them, and we've seen dropouts, and we've seen rejection rates, and we've seen loads of stuff like that. University, on the other hand, also see the negative impact from rejections and from dropouts, and that translates into revenues reduction and bad marketing for them. So what we did, we created a platform, a product really, that's a data oriented, and within the platform, a student, after filling their data and taking our proprietary tests that we have created, they can apply online with one click to universities all over the world, fast and easy, and they can receive program recommendations that fit like perfectly to their skills and their actual calling. And that's why we also have 95% acceptance rate in our recruitment so far. And
Oh,
of course, that's completely free for students.
that's free for students.
Yeah,
The whole let's say the preparation or the feedback.
everything. So students pay nothing for the counseling, the tests, the execution of the applications, and the whole process. This is being done for free for students, and that's one of our DNA factors, main DNA factors.
So who is
You must
paying?
have, yeah.
Who is paying?
Yeah. So our customers are the universities and generally institutions. So essentially, our business model has three main key factors within. The first is the commission-based model. So we get paid from universities for every successful application we bring to them. And we have partnered with over 600 universities globally at the moment. Another form of payment is the subscription model. So universities that are not compatible with the commission model, they can pay a fee to be advertised and featured on our platform, and that gains them exposure, and they can still come up in the results of students when they take the proprietary tests that we have, the university compatibility and the career orientation test. And finally, there's a new B2B product that we're launching, which is basically going to target schools, school counselors, agents, and generally like local people who are trying to do career orientation and counseling, because we're significantly lowering the time that needs to prepare and identify the right opportunities for students, as well as execute the application and fill the whole process.
Well, it seems to me quite good and with great potential. But let's see the numbers and
Okay.
how big is the market?
Right. Okay. So the market is huge. We have 8 million students at the moment expected to study abroad by 2025, and we have a 4.8% growth rate of international students from last year to this year. And if you multiply that with our 1,500 euros average commission fee, we have you get the $12 billion of total addressable market for us.
So let's dip more in numbers and tell me
Okay.
how the market is growing. And you told me about the 2025 and what's going to
Yeah.
happen in the next few years. Are the traditional universities exist? Are we expecting for more universities or more institutions to provide courses and diplomas?
So yeah, there's been a whole range of discussions about are degrees still relevant, or people should focus towards skill-based education, and loads of this. This is like another time story for another time. But either way, people, I mean, companies, universities, or of any sort are gonna want to provide certain qualifications for people, whether it's C++, machine learning, business, engineering, or whatever. So either way, wherever that goes in terms of certificates and education and degrees, that's still good for business for us, because there's one hand we have the customers, who are the institutions who are willing to pay to get clients, and on the other hand we have the end users who either way are incredibly confused and incredibly crammed with all the information online, and still want assistance to what they want to do. Either it's a degree or some skill-based certification.
Okay, and where do you see your initiative on that wave and in the next few years?
Okay, so what we've been doing so far is we've been targeting Greek students to study abroad, like anywhere from within the 600 partnered universities we have collaborated so far. And what we want to do in the next few years, we want to extend that business model to, and that plan and that go-to-market strategy to other countries as well. So let's say Indian students towards the globe, or German students towards the globe, or Italian students towards the globe. And that's our expansion for the future and our place in the market.
In order to get the place in the market, in order to grow, it's needed to know your competitors. And
Yeah.
as far as I know, there are too many competitors. What is the unique that you provide? And could you name some competitors? Because for sure there are
Sure.
some agencies that doing that thing,
Yeah.
but you are doing in another scale. And tell me more about the competition.
Yeah, so like you said, there are a few companies who are big competitors for us with huge numbers as well. So for example, we have study portals, they have 600,000 something enrolled students. And we have Applyboard, which is a global company with 3 point something billions valuation. But the thing is, and for example, Applyboard could also be, apart from a competitor, it could be also an exit strategy for us. So it's not only one dimensioned competitor. But the good thing for us, and that's also our differentiator factor actually, is that nobody approaches the problem at hand the way we do, as an all-in-one marketplace. So Brive combines the marketplace approach with the admissions counseling services. And not only, we don't only operate as an agent or as a funnel for the universities.
So right now, I'd like to ask more about your financials. You are some years in the market. You are, as far as I know, you are generating revenues. Are there enough money, and for how long you have sufficient runway? Because we are growing, and you would like to scale and to do more, to scale in more countries.
Yeah. Okay. So we started with 180,000 euros as a very, very early investment from an angel round. And when I say early, I mean we haven't even thought of the product and the platform specifically. So we had this idea. So that was very good for us to have that kickstart in the beginning. Then we started experimenting with the market and the implementation of the idea. So during that process, we bootstrapped 3.5 times more that money, leading to 654,000 euros total money invested till today. So in the last 2 years, like you said about the revenues, we've attracted 100 customers. So that's not end users. So that's 100 completed applications from students that brought 80,000 euros in revenue. And currently we're fundraising for 1 million for 20%. We have already got the 500,000 from previously invested angels, and we're looking for the other 500,000 for 10% commitment.
Okay, that's great.
For the future.
And what are you going? Where are you going to invest that money? What are you willing to do, and what someone um, has to know to expect?
You mean if they invest, right?
If they invest, then for the growth of your company.
Yeah. So uh, if you just look at the numbers, like the basic fundamental thing, right? If like right now our customer acquisition cost is at 210 euros, the average commission, like I said, it's 1500. So if you do the math, somebody who just puts money in and does nothing, ideally they're gonna get 7.5 times their money back. uh, but it's not about us putting money into marketing spendings, but also, like you said, growing the marketplace, the awareness, and the community generally, right, and our reach. So of course some of them are going to go to spendings, of course, but also we're going to expand the platform. We're going to extend the B2B product that I mentioned to high schools. Ideally we want to penetrate high schools globally, first the US and generally globally, because schools are suffering from being understaffed with school counselors. Our recent trip to Silicon Valley, we talked to a few schools and a few district counselors, and they mentioned the problem for that. So that's why we pivoted our B2B product to tailor it into addressing the needs of high schools, for example. And so some of that money are going to go to spendings, some of that money are going to go to product development, and generally extending our partnerships globally.
So you said you referred before about the community, and this is something that I believe that could make the difference, because
Yeah.
in every platform, in every solution, in every other solution, um, it's not that easy to build the alumni or a community of people that are using that service. But I
Yes.
believe that it's something unique, and this is something that could add on what you are doing. Are you doing any things on
Yeah.
that?
Yeah. So in terms of that, we really wanted to focus on the retention and building the community from very early. So ideally, our platform exists for as early as K-12 students that they want to study somewhere as an undergrad degree. So we target them from that very early age up until actually working somewhere. So undergrad, postgrad, and even after. So throughout that time frame, which is quite a few years, through word of mouth and through organic reach, we will build a community of returning customers and spreading the word, considering that they're happy with the service and they have actually found something they're passionate about to study and work.
Okay, that's great, because we are talking about building the community, but it's also data business. I mean, we discussed before. It's something that
Yeah,
it's gonna make you more powerful, the data, because as you have the
yeah,
data and as you make scoring profiles and things like that, I believe that you will have some more value. And it's not only about we discussed before about the 7.5 up, the money that someone invests could get, but
exactly.
it's more than that, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, like I said, it's not like I put this and we get this. It's more about like long-term vision and strategy. And for example, that's why some of our potential exit strategies are companies who are going to add to that community, add us to their existing community, I should say. For example, Go Student is a huge company that operates before us in terms of aging of students. So they target completely K-12, and they could integrate us if they want to extend the range of the customers. So that's us building on top of their community. And on the other hand, on the other end of the spectrum, it's Handshake, for example, a company that we found about in the US that uses, well, that actually could use our data that you mentioned to identify potential leads for recruiting. So they could use our big forms and the data from students who have already gathered as a very, very sophisticated um, recruiting and headhunting tool to track down exactly the candidates they want, to source them to the companies they collaborate with. And
Which
that's also like the other end. Yeah.
which one you believe that it fits you more, the education thing or the counseling or the which one you believe that you could say that you will be at the end of the day? Are you going to be lead
Mhm.
as a leader on counseling, on education, on which way you believe that you're gonna be?
Yeah. So for us, it's about helping students.
Mhm.
And that's, in the end of the day, I think that comes down to counseling and optimizing the counseling process. I think that it comes down to that. So cutting down the cost and time, both for counselors and for students, to identify their ideal studies. Because I think that's the biggest pain point that exists right now. And that's why we're focusing on the product and optimizing our proprietary university compatibility and career orientation tests.
So right now, a huge buzzword, and as you can understand, the big elephant is already in the room, and everybody is talking about AI.
Yeah, of
And
course.
how you face AI, and what do you believe? Um, could AI enter the best universities? I mean, the applications could use AI and enter the university, as we have read. Have
Yes, I know.
have very big successes and get the low degree of Stanford or other.
I say
I'm not
yes,
sure
yes.
that university, but how you see the future of that? Are you going to
So,
implement that kind of solutions?
well, personally, I'm an early adopter in technology. So, of course, there is an element of like what is going to happen and like second thoughts. Generally, I'm very open and happy about technology and where things are going. Of course, some things can be scary, but I don't think there's ever been innovation without that part as well. It's part of the process. So AI can I've seen, of course, what you're saying with like passing SATs and the bar and everything. So for us, it's only a good thing. First, because first because it can add to what we're already doing and optimize what we're already doing, and second because it can open up new pathways. So what I mean by that, first, we have integrated an one-click apply system in our platform. So after a student completes their data once, we have integrated all the application forms from all the universities that we collaborate with. So with one click, they can apply to as many universities as they want with one click. As you can imagine, 600 is today universities. In 5 years, it could be thousands. So AI can definitely help us adapt this whole process and streamline the whole process and adapting to new forms, which may change after 1 year or two. Second thing that AI could do, which something we're already working right now and kind of focusing on, is of course optimizing the tests, career orientation test and university compatibility test. These tests could heavily use AI to optimize the results, and we're using currently students who are currently taking tests to help the program learn and optimize an algorithm who can recommend even better solutions. Because, for example, somebody, let's say, is a mathematician and they don't know if they want to study as a finance guy to be in finance or in data or academically wise as a mathematician. So the more data we have after integrating AI, the better suggestions we're going to be able to provide to them. And of course, in terms of new pathways, AI can also help with creating all the documentation for the processes. And after like a few data with the students, we can use it to create like the CVs and the statement of purposes, which in turn makes the whole application process easier for us and the students.
Okay, and make the applicants and the applications to have better success rate, isn't it?
Exactly. And also, like I said, on the other end of the spectrum, it can optimize how we use the data of students we already have to source recruiting companies or directly companies who want to attract talent. So it's one thing to have the database, and it's another thing to scan and optimize through an algorithm that database to have the perfect fit for a company.
So, what do you believe about the career counseling and its future? How it's gonna be in 2050?
2050. Okay. So nobody really knows the rate
Mhm.
at which AI is evolving, and nobody could predict this that's happening right now a couple of years ago.
Περίμενε, γιατί χτυπάει το τηλέφωνο και δεν ήξερα ότι έχω ενεργοποιήσει.
2050, right? Okay. So nobody actually knows how things are gonna be in 2050 because the rate at which AI is evolving is really, really exponential and unknown to us because nobody could have predicted what would have happened like 2 years ago, right? But I think career counseling is still gonna be around in one form or another. Maybe it's been optimized, and that's good for us because it means scalability. We want this to happen. It's not against us. So if it's optimized, that's one thing. If there's still if it still exists as a tool for people to use in order to perform the career counseling, that's also fine for us. But I think it's still gonna be around. Still gonna be very useful. Times change, professions change, but of course people are always going to have to work somewhere in some role, and they're also always going to need assistance in choosing that path and that role. So yeah, we're still going to be relevant, I think.
Yeah, let's see our podcast in 30 years from now, about 30
Yeah,
years from now, and discuss
sure.
again. So until then, let's. I would like to make you my favorite question, and this is about a fun story, a pain story that you would love and you would like to share with us.
Funny story or pains my okay, right. Okay, so so on the top of my head, uh first first trip that we did abroad to represent Brive was for Silicon Valley, at Silicon Valley, for an accelerator called USMAC, United States Market Access Center. So these guys took us in San Francisco. They set up a speed dating event and a pitch event, right? Major players there from like 500 startups and like big companies there were as judges. And essentially, it was the first big pitch we were having. And very nervous, very excited, like big investors, like yay. And as soon as I finished the whole thing, like they waited patiently, of course, for me to finish the whole thing. I said about the universities and the commission, and like we get the commission from from the universities for the students, and we have this whole system going on successful application and stuff, and the team and everything. And I say thank you, and like question that guy, and he says, "So who pays Brive?" And that was the point when I realized like how much had they actually understood, and was it the same thing about all of them? And if that lost them in the first 2 minutes of my pitch, did they really actually listen to the rest? Because that was a very crucial point of the presentation. But it was so asked so in a naive way and a very honest way. So like, who's paying? And I'm like, God, I didn't communicate that well. But yeah, it turned out it was the only guy because another person from the judges turned and answered that question for us. But these seconds, like you see the whole business plan flash in front of your eyes.
So yeah, I got it, and it's a lesson. It's a lesson that you
Yeah,
learn from that. It's pain,
definitely.
funny, both. So in order to wrap up, I would like to tell us your favorite quote because I
Okay.
you are good on that. I know.
Yeah. So I've been going on with a quote for some time now. It's in Latin, and it says "Sic parvis magna," which means greatness from small beginnings, and it's from the 16th century, from an English navigator, and I think it means a lot for me. Starting somewhere and going somewhere better, basically starting from nothing. Yeah,
I would
exactly.
like
Yeah.
to thank you and to wish you best luck. And we have an appointment in about 30 years from now.
Yes, and we're gonna play back that clip, right? And we're gonna have a commentary on that.
Exactly,
Absolutely.
absolutely. So thanks a lot, and I wish you
Thanks
the
for having me.